How many people know this, but in the 1960s, a father held his 3 teenage daughters hostage for a decade and forced them to start a rock band. In the early 1960s, Betty, Helen, and Dot Wiggin were 3 ordinary girls growing up in Fremont, New Hampshire, except for one detail. Their father's name was Austin Wiggin, and his mother was a fortune teller. And when he was a kid, she gave a prophecy about his life. He was going to marry a blonde woman, he was going to have 2 boys, and then 3 girls. Those 3 girls were going to become a world-famous rock band. Austin didn't think much of this prophecy until later on, when he ended up getting married to a blonde woman. He had 2 boys and 3 girls. In 1964, he went to a pawn shop and bought a guitar, a bass, and a drum set, pulled his daughters out of school, boarded up all the windows and doors in their house, and then stopped letting them go outside entirely. He made them start a 3-piece rock band called the Shags for some reason, and forced them to practice and write music every day 24/7. Every morning they would wake up, have breakfast, practice and write music until the sun went down, do an hour of calisthenics at the end of the day so they didn't gain weight, go to bed, and then do it all over again. The only problem with this, other than how horrible and abusive it was the fact that because Austin was so strict, he didn't allow his daughters to listen to music. So they didn't actually know what it sounded like. This went on for 5 years, until in 1968, he secured a concert at a school event with a bunch of kids their age, and they went up on stage and played these songs. The kids booed them and threw soda cans at them. The girls were utterly humiliated. Austin decided that it was time for them to go into the studio, and they went in to record their first album, Philosophy of the World. And the music was apparently so terrible that the studio engineer that was recording it for them tried to talk Austin out of doing it because he said he didn't want him to waste his money. Austin had hundreds of copies of Philosophy of the World printed, but nobody would buy them, no radio station would play them, and no record executive would listen to them. Cut to years later, in 1975, Austin has still kept his 3 daughters held prisoner in their house. And keep in mind, they're not teenagers anymore. They're in their mid-20s. Austin decides that they've had enough time to get better and they need to record a new album. So they go back into the same recording studio and record a new album called Shag Zone Thing. Austin gets to work trying to get this new album out there, but out of nowhere, he dies in his sleep of a massive heart attack. The Shags disbanded, and the 3 sisters, one by one, left their childhood home. But then in the early 80s, something really odd happened. A bunch of underground art scene hipsters somehow got a hold of their first album, Philosophy of the World, and it actually started to gain traction and get popular. Kurt Cobain from Nirvana said they were his 5th favorite band. The Wiggin sisters, who by this point were just living normal lives, were shocked to learn that this music that their father had forced them to make in their childhood was somehow gaining traction, and they decided to get back together and start playing music as a band again. And right now, you can listen to both of their albums on your favorite streaming platform. And also, my podcast, Deep Cuts, did a 3-hour episode about the Shags where I go much more in depth with the story. It's episode 19.